All right, well, it has been a long time, and but today is exciting because I get to actually do a complete build, or it's going to be a complete build sans a graphics card.
Not the Blackhawk.
God, not the Blackhawk. No, we're going to use the white case, the XION XON-560, and build our budget gaming PC. Okay, so before we get right into it, a word on buying stuff off of Newegg. I'm going to put up a list of what my projected, originally it was going to be just over $300 gaming budget PC. I thought I could do it, I can undercut all these people that are making $400 and $500 gaming rigs and do something just as good and get super deals and make an awesome $300 and around $50 gaming rig without the peripherals, no monitor, no keyboard, no mice. Well, as I shopped Newegg and got this list going, things went out of stock and never restocked. Better things came along that were too good to pass up. If you're gonna build a rig on time like that, you may end up being forced to have to get things as they come along or as deals come up. If you've got the money to plunk down like $400 or $500, there are actually deals that will come up that are every bit as good or better than what you could piece out yourself, and they're just really good. And if you have the money to put down on a budget gaming rig, and then just upgrade things on that computer as you go along, that'd probably be the better way to do it. And then of course there's the USPS, which was more than frustrating this time around. I didn't realize they ranked dead last in mail carrier service worldwide. That's pretty hard to believe, but and I don't know if that source is correct, but either way, you do have to fudge with that if you want free shipping sometimes. So without further ado, I'm going to get some stuff unboxed here. We'll probably do kind of a quick review, or I'll talk about each component quickly as we're going along and building this, but we're going to get rolling here. The processor. This is the cheapest dual core with hyperthreading that I could find. It's the Intel G2030, which there is very little that's special about this processor. It's 1155 pin configuration, or LGA or whatever. Here is the motherboard we decided to go with, and got a good deal on this. It's an H77 chipset for the Northbridge, which gives us a lot of stuff. I'm not going to go over the box, but I will talk about the fact that this, for a relatively inexpensive motherboard, gives us PCI Express 3.0 as opposed to the 2.0. It supports up to 16 gig of memory, all solid capacitors. There is a smaller heatsink over the Northbridge chipset there. USB 3.0 front-facing and rear-facing on this motherboard. This is this is a micro ATX board, obviously, to go with our micro ATX case. And it's a pretty attractive board there.
Does it have a PCI bus?
Yeah. Oh, the SATA. It does support 6 gig SATA. There's 2 right here. This doesn't support the 4th gen. Haswell processors. This is the prior generation, the 3rd gen processors. But there's still a lot of headroom, and there's still some really fast i7 quad-core processors if we want to upgrade to that. So anyhow, let's get to building this thing. Alrighty, so we will, as you can see, this seal wasn't like that when I got it, by the way. I have taken this out to look at it. Not that there's a whole lot to look at. It's just a chip and a stock cooling solution that we will be doing a mild upgrade on that. Alright, there's our stock Intel cooling solution with its tiny, I don't know, 72mm fan or whatever it is, and a little bit of goop on the bottom. Alright, let's get the cap off here. This is, like a leaf spring. Undo that bar. is the socket. And get this plastic cap off. There we go. All right, cap no more. Now, Intel processors have they just have little dots. The pins are actually on the board itself, so do not touch that. Try not to touch that. Pretty much don't touch anything. If you could just hover this down into place would be the best thing, but it's not that difficult. Hold it on the corners or hold it on the sides. Alrighty, it gives you actually room here. But before we do that, let's kind of see, flip that up. These sockets are notched out, so it pretty much tells you there's only one way that you can position it. There's 2 notches on the processor, here and here, and there's 2 notches on the socket. So we're going to grip it right where the plastic tells us to. And without touching anything else, we're going to position it. There it is. Okay, next thing, the cooling solution that we got. Rosewill, Hyper Silence. It's appropriate for the socket. The 1155 is right there. This is a 1155 LGA. This is cheap, about 15 bucks. And from what I read, it's significantly better than the stock Intel coolers. So let's see why. So right away, let's compare the two side by side. Much bigger fan, okay? Much taller fins on the actual heatsink itself. And then if you look at the bottom, the base is bigger on the, and it's also solid copper. And the stock thermal paste is a bit more copious. So right there are several reasons why 15 bucks will, you know, you've got a better cooling solution, from what I hear anyhow. Another thing that makes this nice is that just like the Intel one, this will, your computer, your motherboard will determine when it needs to kick on, when it needs to kick higher. It will, it governs the temperature itself, so you don't have to manually do it, which some people may not like. I happen to think that's a nice little perk. And we'll go to the opposite one. RAM then. Decided to go with Sniper RAM. I got a really good deal on this. 8 gig total RAM. It's really fast RAM. It's 24 PC 2400, or it's the appropriate RAM for this board. So DDR3, non-ECC, which is not necessary unless you're running a server. We get a cool little G.SKILL sticker with this RAM. And it's got the cool, I guess, cool gun motif on that. Kind of is a stylized, kind of cool anyways. I'm not sure how necessary these dissipators are on RAM, but they do produce a little bit of heat. Just barely touching that. I think we can get it in without hurting anything, and once it plops into place, yeah, we made clearance. Okay, it may be snug, but we're good, we're good. Second stick, giving us total 8 gig of very fast RAM. That's the click we're looking for. Pretty cool. Not too shabby, and that's ready to plug in. There it is. Corsair CX430M. It's semi-modular, and the power on this seems, yeah, you might think to yourself, that's kind of low for even a gaming rig, but I'll leave it be kind of a surprise what I plan to get for a graphics card, but I'll tell you this, it will be adequate, more than adequate, with rather low power consumption. So I don't need excessive amounts of wattage, although the headroom is nice. Honestly, a 500 probably would have been better, but I think that we're going to make it work just fine with 430 watts of power. So let me just kind of get this out. Your power cord. Semi-modular, so you got all these nice take them or leave them cords for all your components. Also, again, a lot of bang for your buck. You can get this power supply for 30 bucks after mail-in rebate, and that is a lot of, I mean, you get the, you know, quality of Corsair stuff for a relatively inexpensive, and it's semi-modular on top of it. It's one of the cheapest modular power supplies that you can get. As I was saying there, they've got it printed in two different directions for upper or lower mounting, which was nice of Corsair to do. Now, later on, I'm going to get some screens in these. I don't plan on running this rig very long before getting screens in. Dust filters. This is your power supply. This is your power supply on dust. Any questions? Yeah, you don't want that to happen. Dust kills electrical components. You want to make sure that your fan is facing the bottom here. This case does have some nice rubber pads that support the weight of the power supply screws. Okie doke. So just gonna make sure, finger tighten first to make sure some threads bite.
Recording.
Snug as we need to be. Alrighty, cheap little tin plate. Here. Alright, well, here's a big mistake, and don't make this yourself. The tabs, and this maybe, you know, goes without saying, but you kind of got to watch all of them. I've got the metal ground out tabs on my back plate slipped up under my USB 3 and my HDMI. So, unfortunately now, I got to kind of take the whole motherboard, which I almost had in there, out. After much frustration with the back plate, finally got everything in there and mounted. I know it seems like such a simple task to put 5 screws in to hold a motherboard down, but cooling solution secure. Our back plate is on there. A little more bent than what it was originally, but definitely make sure these tabs right here where my thumbnail is going in at, make sure that they're up, and you may have to use a flathead screwdriver several times to get it lifted up over all of your component plugs or jacks or whatever. Here we go. This was our, I plan on putting in probably at least a terabyte of mechanical storage in here, but for now this is the SSD. This is 120 gigs of solid state storage that's going in this build.
I'm going to just take a hunch and I'm going to assume it goes here where it says
SSD. That's a good hunch.
I'm helping you!
Observe precautions for handling electrostatic sensors.
Uh-oh, you're not wearing the bracelet, the static bracelet.
This feels a little tinny, but it's no problem because the components that are actually doing the job are underneath. This is just a metal case to keep you from crushing it, and maybe to give it a little bit of uniformity. So as far as the feel goes, it doesn't really mean anything anyhow. So this is the one of the modular cables to the Corsair CX430M, and as you can see, here's your SSD. And you can tongue it in there properly after it's mounted, okay? That's perfect. I don't know if you can see or not, so that's no problem. The problem is this metal part right here. Since it doesn't come right up to an open area, there's your power, your SATA power. Once that clips in, it is not going to clear that metal bar. So, unfortunately, unless you've got a straight, a power, SATA power that goes straight and isn't angled like that, then you're SOL, and you're going to have, well, you're not SOL, because what we're going to do, optionally, these pull-out drive bays like this, they do have mounting for an SSD. So that is going to be our solution. No big problem, although I wish I could have used the SSD bay, but it looks like it's going to be a no-go. So, all right, so here's the Crucial 120 SSD installed on the regular drive bay. Of course, this does, since there's only 2 drive bays like that, that kind of limits if you weren't to be able to use the SSD bay. I'm sure that with some standoffs, you can easily find a solution, or with straight-facing SATA power cord, but slips in, no problem, and the back plate is off, no problem for the cable management. So, yeah. Let's undo our bundle of joyous cords. USB 3.0. Okay, so I skipped a whole bunch. I didn't really want to bore you with a bunch of cable management and stuff like that, or lack of management. But it's all in there. I didn't even bother showing you what the back side of it looks like because it's pretty ugly as far as cable management goes. I left this slop right here, okay, because more fans are coming. But when that's done, it'll be possibly managed a little bit better. But the side panel on this case doesn't have a window anyway, so it's not like you'll be looking in here a whole bunch. Very nice. We'll at least try to get it to load into the BIOS, and just so that you can see it turn on. Well, there it is. It's up and running. I don't have an optical drive in there yet, so I've just got it booted up to the UEFI. But you can see that it is very much working. The mouse, however, is not, because I apparently lost the wireless thingy. So
it's alive.
There it is, and
our budget one anyway.
That's the budget one, sans graphics card, which it will be getting, and some cool peripherals, and we'll do another video for that, and we'll do another video that hopefully we can show you some benchmarks and just how well it functions and how well it games actually. So we'll definitely be looking forward to doing that, and I might be kind of dark now because we shut off some of the lights so that you could actually see the monitor. And
Blackhawk is on its way.
The Blackhawk project will be done next weekend, possibly.
Yeah, sorta.
Yeah, well, we've yet to decide on that, but the processor and the SSD is coming, so technically we've got a build as far as that goes. That is going to be it for this video anyhow. And like I said, I'll be back with this machine when we have the graphics card and some of the peripherals, so that is it.
What's in the box?
You don't want to know
what's in the box? What's in the box?
Because the what's in the box threw me off.
I did throw you off a little bit.